Hello guys, and welcome back to the 13th part of this course where I'll be showing you guys everything you need to know getting started with if statements in Python. So what are if statements in Python? If statements are a special structure in Python that helps our programs make decisions. That is like to do something if a special condition is met. If statements are the things that we humans use in our everyday life, like what we do, the way we go out, the way we go to malls and restaurants and all that. So here I want to take a look at an example of an if statement, like a real life example of an if statement. So let's go ahead and start doing that. So here on my screen I have some bunch of text, and these are not code, these are just like plain text. As you can see, it's in a file, not in a Python file. So the first one says, when I wake up in the morning, if I'm hungry, I eat breakfast. So this is something that all of us we do on a daily basis. When you wake up in the morning, if you are hungry, you eat breakfast. And I hope that's very clear. Number two, I have something again here. It says, when I wake up early in the morning, if I wake up by 6 o'clock a.m., I go to work. Otherwise, now take note, otherwise is also called elif. Just keep that at the back of your mind. You don't need to use it now, but just remember that otherwise is also known as elif. So it says, if I wake up 6 o'clock a.m. in the morning, I go to work. Otherwise, I skip work for the day and pay a fine or something at the office. Hopefully you understand. When you wake up 6 o'clock a.m. in the morning, you woke up very early, you go to work. But let's say you woke up around 10 o'clock a.m. or 11 a.m. or 12 p.m., then you're definitely gonna skip work for the day and pay a fine or something like that. So number three, it says, I'm at a meeting. If I want to ask a question, I raise my hand. Otherwise, I shut my mouth. It's very easy and self-explanatory. Number four says, I'm at a restaurant. If I want to meat, I order a steak. Otherwise, if I want pasta, I order spaghetti and meatballs. Otherwise, I order salad and drink. That's like the default one. Then take note, otherwise here is known as elif, and otherwise here too was known as else. So what does all this mean? We'll get to all this in a second. So sit tight and watch how we put all this into function. So let's go ahead and start writing some bunch of code. We could just get rid of this over here. Then we want to create a new Python file, and let's name this if sorry for that. Let's come over here, right click, and we want to create not a new scratch file over here. I want to create a new Python file, and let's name this if statements. Okay, so down here in the if statement, there are some things we want to do. For example, we want to write the code that helps check if some individuals in the meeting, or let's say some students in the school are male. And in order to do that, we need to define a variable, and we want to call this variable is male. So is male, we're gonna set it to true, and hopefully you remember what true is in Python. If you could remember what the data type that true is, it's a boolean. And I taught you this in the Python glossary course introduction part, where I was showing you guys some glossary in Python and data types. So this is a boolean. It's used to check if something is true or false. For example, I'm a male, so this is gonna be true. But we don't know yet. I'm just setting this to a value true. We can also set this to false for the moment. For the meantime, we can set this to false, or we can leave it as true. So it could be anything now. But let's go ahead and continue doing what we want to do. So we want to check if it's male, then print true. Print you are a male. You are a male. So let's run this. Now what does it say? You are a male. And why is it printing you are a male? Because it said if is male is equal to true over here. Print you are a male. But how about I'm not a male? How about like I'm a female or something? Now let's go ahead and change this to false. So I changed is male to false, and now the output is gonna be you are not a male. So let's come over here and say else print you are not a male. You are not a male. So you need to pay close attention to all this because it's gonna get complex with time. So let's run this, and it says you are not a male, and that's because its male is now false. Let's say we leave it as true, then run this, it says you are a male. Then when it's on in false, and take note, the false is gonna start with a capital letter, it says you are not a male. So let's check to see if there are tall males in the class. So we need to come over here and define a variable again, and let's say is tall is equal to true, and let's leave this one over here as true. Okay, now we have a variable that will check for males in the class, and we also have a variable that will check for tall males in the class. So now we have to use what is called an operator in Python, like an or, and what else? There's one other more, not. These are operators in Python that helps you compare things. So let's go ahead and do something. So if is male or is tall, so this or over here is an operator in Python. Take note of that. So if is male or tall, print you are a male, or you are a male, or tall, or both. So if he's a male and if he's tall, so this is gonna tell us that he's a male or tall or both. Else print you are not a male, neither are you tall. Are you tall? So let's go ahead and run this. Now it says you are a male or tall or both, because is male is true. But how about we change is male to false? So it says you are a male or tall or both. That's because tall is the true, and what we are checking for is or. We want to check if they are a male or they are tall. So it is still print out you are a male or tall. Take note of that. But male is false. That means they're like a female. But are they tall? So it says you are a male or you are tall or both. And I know you might not understand this now, so just take your time, go back to the video. You should definitely understand this. So down here we want to print you are neither male or tall. So let's just get rid of this. You are neither male or tall. So this is more better. So this is gonna print you are neither male or tall. So let's run this and see. It says you are a male or tall or both. Now let's make the both of them false. Now you see it says you are neither male or tall. So the both are in false. The person is not a male and the person is not tall. That means the person is just short female. And hopefully you understand what's going on here. It says you are neither male nor tall. Now we want to use an AND operator. So an AND operator will check to see if they are male, if they are male, and if they are tall. So it's gonna check for the both of them, not separately like the way OR did. OR is checking like if this is white or if this is blue. But this is going to check if this is white and blue. Hopefully you understand. So let's go over here and change the OR to AND, and it's going to say if is male and is tall, print you are a male and you are tall, and you are tall. Take note of that. And now let's go ahead and run this. It says you are neither male or tall, but we want to change this one over here now to you are neither male, you are not a male, and you are not tall. So you are not a male and you are not tall. So let's run this and see what we have. It says you are not a male and you are not tall. But let's leave this as true and let's see what it says. It says you are not a male and you are not tall. That's because we want to check for male and tall. We want to check if they are a male and if they are tall. So if you leave one of this as true, nothing is going to happen. The both of them has to be true for this to tell you that you are a male and you are tall. So it needs a tall male and it needs a tall male, and that's all it needs. It doesn't need a short male or a tall girl. It needs a tall male. So the both of them has to be true for it to show you this. Now the next operator that we can use as well, or they call the not operator. So guys, now we want to use the not operator. So let's go ahead and do that. So elif is introduced when you want to make two conditional statements. For example, if I wake up in the morning around 6 o'clock, I go to work. That's if. Then, but if I wake up 10 o'clock p.m., I don't go to work. Sorry, 10 o'clock a.m., I don't go to work. So to do that, you use elif. So we're gonna say now, elif is male and not is tall. So add a column there. Elif is male and the not is tall. So with this, we are pretty good to go. And this one over here too, we need to change this. If is male and not is tall, and not is tall, so we need to add this over here to a parenthesis. And as you can see, everything is working fine now. If is male and not is tall, so if the person is a male and the person is not tall, but take note of something, we are already doing that here, so we need to get rid of this not that in the if statement here and just leave it. If they are male and they are tall, print you are male and you are tall. But if they are male and they are not tall, then you want to print something else. And what's that gonna be? If you can try figure that out, that's gonna be you are a male and you are not tall. Take note of that. So we're gonna add you are not tall. And finally, we want to check if they are tall and they are not a male. So we still use elif over here, and we'll say if not is tall. Take note of that. Over here we checked if they are male and they are not tall. So we want to check if they are not tall. Sorry, if they are not is male, if they are not a male over here, and they are tall and is tall. And hopefully you understand what's going on here. We want to check if they are not male but they are tall. So we're gonna print you are not a male but you are tall. So else, what are we gonna do in the else? So in the else statement, we could just say something like you are not a male, you are not tall, and you are not both. So let's just come over here and say you are not a male and you are not tall. So let's go ahead and run this now. It says you are male and you are tall because the both of male and tall, they are true. But how about we change tall to false? Now guess what it's going to show us? It's going to show us you are male but not tall. So let's run this, and you see it shows you are male and you are not tall because tall is false. Let's say we want to change the both of them to false. Now it's going to say you are not a male and you are not tall. So let's say we want to change tall to true. It's going to say over here you are not a male but you are tall. So you see what our program can do now. It can detect when a male is a male and when a male is not tall, and when they are female and they are not tall. So this program is actually smart to make decisions, and hopefully you understand everything that went on here about if statement. If you do not understand it, you could just leave a comment in this video and I will clarify you more. So that's pretty much it. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Do drop a like, comment to make us keep growing, and I hope I will see you in my next video. Bye and stay safe for now.